Up first, we are joined by Dreadnought Resources with the ticker code DRE, a West Australian mineral exploration company. To tell us more, today I'm joined by Managing Director, Dean Tuck. Good morning, Dean.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, thank you. Dean, let me bring up your presentation.
Thank you for that. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk about Dreadnought Resources. We'll get straight into it as we only have a short amount of time. So I'll skip through the next two slides. So company snapshot, what I want to talk about today, we have three main companies. Lately, our success has been driven by Mangaroon and the rare earths there. And our value is really underpinned not only by the rare earths at Mangaroon, but also our first quantum joint venture there for the nickel, copper, and PGEs, and also our copper, cobalt, silver, gold discoveries in the Kimberly that we made last year. So I'll talk mainly about Mangaroon in the next couple of minutes, but also wanted to highlight that we do have other projects that have the significant scale opportunities for us. And we have a sort of first mover land package on the Proterozoic Gascoyne mobile belt. We did a joint venture early on with First Quantum over a few tenements over what we call the money intrusion. And the rare earths sit on 100% owned ground of Dreadnought, so there are no joint ventures there. And we're right next door to Yangibana. We have similar ironstones to Yangibana, and we also have the potential for carbonatites similar to Mount Weld and Mountain Pass. And I just want to highlight that the First Quantum joint venture is moving on in the background, and our rare earths 100% owned, and we'll continue to advance those as we speak. So we have a large-scale opportunity here. We've said from the beginning, if you like Hastings, you'll love the Yin Project. We have ironstones very similar to what Hastings is developing next door. And we also have the potential for carbonatite intrusions C1 to C5. We've already confirmed mineralization outcropping at C4, and we'll be drilling that here in the next few weeks. We've already confirmed, similar to Yangibana, high grades and high in DPR ratios. We confirmed that there's monazite in this. And before we even put a drill hole in, we've already confirmed that we can produce a high quality monazite concentrate using the exact same flow sheet that Hastings has developed for the Yangibana operation. And at the moment, we are in the middle of what is quite a substantial drill program. Our first drill holes at Yin, which we'll talk about in a second, certainly exceeded expectations. We've drilled about 120 drill holes to date, and we have another probably 25,000 meters of additional drilling planned by the end of this year. And that program seems to grow as every week that passes. The first drill line at Yin, again, we had a small outcrop, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner with Ross Chandler. We had no idea what this was going to turn into. We know from Hastings Yangibana operation next door that the ironstones average 2 to 3 meters width with variable plunge, and they can get up to 10, 20 meters. So we didn't really expect to hit 20 to 35 meters of high-grade rare earths in our first drill holes. To put this into perspective, the highest grade and thickest intercept at Hastings Yangibana operation, 14 years of drilling, was 24 meters at 1.8% total rare earths, and we exceeded that in a number of our first drill holes. It's very exciting. First drill holes, it's certainly captured the imagination of the market, and we certainly haven't stopped drilling. We have confirmed thick mineralized ironstones over 3 kilometers to date. We are almost finished with that infill drilling over the first 3 kilometers. And that will go into a maiden torque resource, which we will put out before the end of this year. It's important to note that 3 kilometers is just simply where we started drilling, and Yin remains open in all directions along strike and at depth. So we will be moving on to Y3 and the carbonatites immediately after that, but those are only the radiometric and outcropping anomalies that we have ground truth to date. We have over 66 other targets identified. To date, we have only visited 19 of those, 13 of which are proven to be outcropping mineralization. Not all of these will be guaranteed outcropping mineralization. However, a number of these will, and we have the surveys and approvals lined up for September. So if we do identify additional mineralized outcrops here in the next month or two, we will have them drilled by the end of this year. So we see not only the potential to become the other half of Hastings Yangibana with the ironstones, we potentially have the carbonatite intrusions that can completely change the scale opportunity here. That puts us in competition with things like Linus, Mount Weld, Mountain Pass, Nolan's Bore, Cummins Range, and the rest. And if these additional ironstones come up, then there's certainly a significant scale opportunity here to change the fortunes that we have in the Gascoyne region. In the background, we have the First Quantum Mangaroon joint venture. So First Quantum will be continuing with this work over the next few months, doing some deep EM, and continuing to chase what they believe and what we see is high tenor nickel copper PGE sulfides, looking for a massive sulfide target within the Money intrusion. We've only just started here. Our first 12 holes, 9 of them hit mineralization. So it's a very fertile intrusion, and there's a lot of work to be done. And we're looking forward to working with First Quantum as they continue to fund this work. We also have the Tarraji-Yampi Project up in the Kimberly. This time last year, we announced a discovery in our first drilling undercover at Orion, high-grade copper, silver, gold, and cobalt massive sulfides. And over the last couple of months since that discovery, end of last year, we have been doing some auger drilling. That auger drilling has the opportunity to unlock a lot of additional value for the Kimberly project, in that it'll identify and prove up the Orion and Grants area to be a camp, looking at analogs like Vanco over in Brazil. What we see here is a hydrothermal related system similar to Cloncurry and Mount Isa, and what we're looking for is Orion's friends. Orion and Grants are proven mineralization. We'll continue to develop those into a resource, and we want to find additional ore bodies within the system. Already, we've identified 5 or 6 Orion lookalikes within the primary Orion trend on similar lithostructural settings. And then as we expanded that auger program down to the south into new areas, we've identified Thunderer and Vanguard, new outcropping high-grade Gossin sticking out of the ground, which is extremely encouraging. We're going to be back up there in September, extending that auger program and also extending that auger program over other areas with similar lithostructural characteristics to Orion, and identify a very strong pipeline of targets that we will be looking at drilling this time next year, following our substantial program on the rare earths at Mangaroon. So we see our catalysts for the next 12 to 24 months. We have steady news flow coming out of Mangaroon. We've drilled 120 holes. I think we're up to over 8,000, 10,000 samples at the lab as we speak. It's hard to keep track of them. They'll be coming through in the next couple of weeks, and we will see consistent news flow every few weeks coming out on assays from the rare earth drilling. At the end of this week or by this weekend, we should be done with the infill drilling at Yin, and we will move on to Y2, Y3, and the C1 to C5 carbonatites. So we'll see us potentially announcing additional discoveries in addition to Yin, really highlighting the scale of the opportunity at Mangaroon in the rare earth space, as well as the additional anomalies that we'll be reviewing, which could turn into additional Yins, Y3s, or carbonatite targets. We'll deliver that Yin resource before the end of this year, but the drilling after this infill drilling at Yin will be focused on proving up scale. And then once we have a number of discoveries, we will pursue those and convert those to resources as they permit. We will also have the Mangaroon work in the background and the additional auger results really all paving the way for us to get up to the Kimberly this time next year. So for the next 12 months, we have a lot of work and a lot of assays coming out on the rare earth space, and then we'll be moving up to the Kimberly this time next year to make some additional discoveries with copper and cobalt up there. So takeaway message, strong news flow. We have significant scale opportunity at Mangaroon with the rare earths. Not only could we turn into the other half of Hastings' Yangibana operation, we could also have the potential of Mount Weld and Mountain Pass style carbonatite intrusions. We have the First Quantum joint venture, the additional work going on there, completely funded by First Quantum. The Kimberly work, additional discoveries of Orion lookalikes. Central Yilgarn, the opportunity for some commercial reviews going on in the background. And of course, we have the team that continues to deliver the operational success in the field, and the board that can certainly look at ways of crystallizing value for our shareholders. Thank you very much.
Dean, what a great presentation. You've definitely been busy, and we're looking forward to seeing all that news flow that's coming out. A few questions that have come through, one actually from a Twitter follower. So with the drilling that's been completed to date, or by the end of 2022, when can shareholders expect results?
So we are hoping we're at the mercy of the labs at the moment with the assay results. So I've been expecting the first batch this week. As soon as we get those results any week now, we'll see the second batch. And then every couple of weeks after that, until the end of the year into next year, every couple of weeks, there'll be another batch of samples coming through. So, and then for the resource, as soon as we get the infill drilling on the results from Yin, we will be putting out that resource within the December quarter is what we currently think. So there'll be continuous assay results from Yin over the next 2 to 3 months. And then our drilling at Y3 and the carbonatites will see additional assays continue to flow through the end of the year and into next year.
And also, so what excites you most about the Mangaroon project?
What excites me the most? I think what we've seen with the rare earths is just what we're seeing right now is what we've seen in the lithium space before. You have a major motive in the world of going through decarbonization, electrification, and the step change required in supply and the increase in demand in order to create the batteries, in order to create these metals, or I guess to create the magnets and everything else that we need for electrification, is going to really drive a lot of interest in this space, in addition to the geopolitics. And we see, I guess, a real clear line of sight of not only delivering additional discoveries, but also resources next to a mine that's going into operation down the road from Iluka, who's built a rare earth refinery for monazite, which is exactly what we have at Yin, and also what you see at Lynas building in Kalgoorlie. So not only in past, like Lynas does, you have to ship things overseas. Going forward the next 2 to 3 years, there's actually going to be an inbuilt Western Australia processing facilities and a whole bunch of customers that will be looking for a high-grade monazite concentrate like we're proving up at Yin right now.
Well, Dean, thanks again for the great presentation, and we look forward to hearing further updates.
Thank you very much.